From the Lights Camera Pro podcast, and today I have a special guest, Tami McQueen, who I found through my really good friend Bill Baker. Hey, Bill. I'm pretty sure he's watching.
So
How are you, Tami?
I'm doing well, Sean. Thank you so much for having me on today. This is live, real time live. And
Yeah.
I was telling a couple of folks when I was posting online today, I was saying that, listen, this is no delay, no editing. This
Mm-mm.
is straight up live. Not often we get to do this. So thank you so much for throwing me right in.
Yeah, I love it. I love the live thing. It's so cool. The reach is huge and more people see it, and it's just fun. It's fun to talk to people and be able to see them and be like, okay. And I love the remote thing. Like it's so hard to get, to a studio, especially now. Well, I'll ask you about that in a minute because you do a couple of podcasts. But let me just do a quick little ad here for Restream. I'm going to play it and talk about it real quick. Here we go. Restream is a service that takes your live and sends it to several locations like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, like I am right now. And also, it has a live studio, so you can do everything within Restream. It's a really cool product. I am partnering with them right now. And on the live that you're watching right now, there is a referral link if you want to check it out. And also, eCam, the other logo you can see on the screen, is the software I'm using. It's like a little television studio. We're gonna play show some pictures later. Sometimes I show video clips of actors in movies and stuff like that. So it's like having your own little Jimmy Kimmel show here live on the internet. So there's an affiliate link in the live that you're watching right now if you want to check that out also. All right, so let's get to it. Tami, we want to know. My first question is always, what how did you know that you wanted to be in this industry? Were you a little girl? Were you in high school? Were you in college? And you knew that you wanted, because I've seen your Instagram and you're everywhere. You're at all the sporting events and all these marketing events. You're all over Atlanta and the country. How did you know you wanted to do this?
Gosh, I think you have these dreams as a little girl or a little boy, and you think about what you want to be when you grow up. And I never had the idea of being a fireman or a teacher or whatever, or a marine biologist. That was really big when I was growing up as well. And I just knew that I really wanted to work in a a tall high rise, and I want to be in the advertising world, and I wanted to make ads and either be in magazine or radio or television or something along those lines. So I'd always had these aspirations growing up that that's what I would want to do. Um, how that played out, I'm not sure I really had that clear direction of going into college and that I knew what I was going to do. But I went into college. I was recruited to play tennis in college, a small Division 1 school in Western Kentucky. So from Johannesburg, major culture shock, moving to Western
Yeah.
Kentucky about 18 years ago. And I just dived into a marketing degree, and I have stayed the course ever since. Now, of course, that's changed significantly since 2002.
Okay.
And so there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram,
Mm-mm.
no social media at all per se. So quite an interesting landscape. A lot of the traditional marketing went through that training, true journalism training, and traditional marketing forms. And sort of, I think I'd always known. I've just stayed with it. But I've found that marketing, whatever it is, if you have the strategic foundation of it, you can always lift it up and pick it up into whatever different industry or vertical you may be in. So a lot of flexibility on the marketing side there, and value that significantly.
Right. And the question that I really want to get to, because I am a huge podcast fan, is how did you parlay that into being on a podcast, and you also produced another podcast, and how did you get into, how did you get onto being a
How do you
podcast
get
host?
into that?
Yeah.
I mean, how did I get into that? Did not set out the way we get into most of the things we do in our lives. So we
Right.
never, I can't say that I typically set out to write that out and ride that wave. But I have had the incredible honor and fortunate experience of being on many, many incredible podcasts over the years when they had just started entering the marketing
Right.
scene and the market when folks were out there. I was a guest on many of them, and I've had the opportunity to see some that have skyrocketed over the years,
Right.
have been able to share my story, and was afforded that opportunity to share my story. And I was given a voice very early in my career as well, and a platform to share my ideas. And I've been forever thankful for that, for others that have promoted it and shared it. And so given the opportunity to now do that for others and to give away more of your knowledge, you become so much more powerful when you give away your knowledge and you share that and you curate that. And so I've always just really enjoyed speaking. I've enjoyed being in front of audiences, or whether now it's a blind audience that you're not having that interactivity with. But I've been on the front side. I haven't been able to be on the back end of it and really see the inner workings of it. So given that chance, absolutely leapt at it to
Right.
learn with some incredible folks in the industry as well, and help build what we are today with Blood, Sweat and Beers, and also full contact CEO with the New England Free Jacks, a professional rugby team based out of Boston.
Right. So I'm showing, I don't know if you're seeing the Facebook page right now, but I'm showing the logo for Blood, Sweat, and Beers. And
I
this
do
is,
see it.
you do see it.
It's
Okay.
really cool. Yeah,
So,
it's awesome.
so you're, it's the New England Free Jacks, and they're a rugby team, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And is this other woman, her name's Christy? I listened to it a little bit. Is it Christy?
Christy Kershey, yes.
Is she a
So I'll give you a
rugby
bit of
player, or was
background
she
on
a
that.
soccer player?
She is. Okay, so this is an incredible story. Christy played soccer growing up and all through college as well. Division 1, incredible athlete.
Okay.
And then, graduate college like most of us do, and we go into our 9 to 5s. And so pretty much that's what Christy did as well, until one of her friends had invited her to a rugby practice in Boston, one of the Boston teams. And so she went. She walked after much convincing, as she tells the story. And it was I think it was, February 2018 that she walked onto the pitch for a practice for the first time.
Okay.
Okay, so 2018, February 2018. January 2019, 11 months later, she walks onto the pitch representing the US national team for women's sevens rugby.
Wow.
Unbelievable story.
Wow.
It's crazy. She's an incredible athlete. She's awesome. Such a great personality. She's a lot of fun. I'm going to adjust my screen here if you don't mind. There we go. And she's remarkable. So incredible athlete. I think she is fantastic. And we host Blood, Sweat, and Beers. It is a sports, lifestyle, entertainment podcast. It is a show that you would listen to. It's the conversation that you would have at a bar.
Okay.
What you would overhear at a bar with a bunch of friends after a game, whether it is rugby or soccer or football or whatever it may be. These are the conversations you have at the bar with a friend over a beer.
Right. And are you shooting it? Not shooting it. Are you recording it in the morning or in the afternoon, or is it different times? Is it remote? Are you guys remote?
It's remote.
Okay.
So Christy just traveled from Boston to San Diego to the US National Olympic Training Center. And they are doing a quarantine there, and then they will be in this bubble training for the Summer Olympics, which will be held next year. So she is in San Diego, and we are recording based on her schedule. So it could be in the evenings. We typically done Tuesday afternoons, but we just recorded our latest episode on Tuesday night.
Okay. There's I've interviewed so many people on the show, and there is a podcast in Atlanta, and they are two guys, and it's called Bears, Birds, and Brews. So it's kind of similar, but they talk Atlanta Falcons, they talk Chicago Cubs because they're from Chicago and Atlanta, and then they talk craft beers. So
awesome.
It would be really interesting for advertising and promotion whatever you know, like to have a different beer sponsor your podcast. You know, like
No
a
kidding.
craft beer
Yeah.
or something, because it's in the
I
name.
think Christy and I need to get into, maybe we'll host a joint show with them or something. That would be
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, they do craft beers and they love it. And I like craft beer. I'm not a crazy drinker, but I do like craft beer once in a while. It's
Yeah.
some of it's kind of fruity or whatever. Okay, so moving on. Um, the Full Contact CEO, we're going to bring that still up now. This is the owner of the New England Free Jacks, Alex Magleby. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, so Full Contact CEO is hosted by Mr. Rugby himself, Alex Magleby. He was a Dartmouth grad. He played all through college, and then he played for the US national team as well. He captained the US national team. He
Okay.
coached the US national team, and is also the GM and performance director. And then he came the calling to be a co-founder and CEO of the New England Free Jacks at the inception. So
Okay.
MLR, Major League Rugby, has been around for several years. About 3 years. This was the third season, and the Free Jacks entered their inaugural season in 2020. Played 5 matches before it was shut down by COVID, and so 2 days before the initial home match, the inaugural home match ever played in Boston. And so Alex is a full contact CEO. He talks about building a professional sports team, a startup business, a startup entertainment league. And we go behind the scenes, pull the curtain away from everything that's happening. It's sort of like building in public, how this happens. What are you facing? Hiring, recruiting, managing a team, a remote team now, and also building culture, performance culture, and talks about that transition from being a professional athlete, managing professional athletes, to now building a professional team as well.
Right. Very cool. So this is the thing, the question. New England Free Jacks. You're in Atlanta and you're promoting it. Is he in Atlanta or is he in New England or is it?
New England. The
Okay.
whole team is in New England.
Okay.
Everyone is based in New England. I'm in Atlanta during shelter in place, and it is home for me. However, I am with the team in New England during the season.
You are. Okay. Wow. So you're promoting. You're not just doing these podcasts. You're promoting the entire team and doing the marketing for the whole team. Correct?
Absolutely. And the team, how this is, when COVID struck and it shut down sports for everyone,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so what was interesting about the Free Jacks, they shifted, and MLR was the first professional sport league that took all gameplay online. So went straight digital. We hosted a tournament on Twitch as well, and did gameplay with some of the athletes and some pro gamers as well with Rugby 20, and shifted that entirely before any of the other leagues went
Okay. Cool.
onto Twitch. So did that, and then that really kickstarted the idea of what are we doing from a digital fan engagement? What are we doing to serve the fans up content that they're looking and craving while they aren't in these sports? And so kicked it into high gear, really looking at what can we deliver that is valuable, insightful, keeps them excited as well, and really engaged until we hit the pitch again. So that's where Pathways was the initial podcast that came from the Free Jacks. This is really showcasing the direction of college, or from high school through college to professional leagues or club leagues, and it's the emergence of these athletes. And so that is directed and led and produced by Tom Kindley and Ollie Engelhardt. Those are, crucial business operations for the Free Jacks, and they host different guests as well. So that's produced weekly as well and on the platform. So that is really heavy rugby centric. Blood, Sweat, and Beers focuses on an entirely different audience. You can love rugby, you can know nothing about rugby,
Right.
and still listen to this. It's like, what's popping in Boston? What's cool? What beer should you be drinking? Life updates, what it's like living in the bubble.
Right.
As a pro athlete as well. And then it's just sort of, I talk about my life, if, what's crazy, what's happening, what's going on, and just really relevant things that are happening. And then Full Contact CEO, incredible lineup of guests on there, which speaks to the business audience, but also the sports industry as well, with different guests, including we have the UNC women's basketball coach, Courtney Banghart. We have NFL vet, Harry Douglas. You might know, you hear him on the airwaves as well. He's awesome, former Falcons player and Titans player. Nate Ebner, Patrick Chung, some NFL Giants and also co-owners of the Free Jacks.
Patrick Chung was on the Patriots.
Exactly, and he's a co-owner of the Free Jacks as well.
Is he really? Okay.
He is, as well as Nate Ebner. As you know, Nate played for the Patriots, 3-time Super Bowl champion as well, now plays for the Giants. And he is also a co-owner. He is an Olympian as well for rugby. Dual sport, which is unbelievable.
So let me ask you a couple questions so you can take a break.
I'm like,
no, I'm the same way. Like, you got to stop me. Like, it's fine. Just yell. I'll be like, Sean, let me get a word in here. So where do they play the Free Jacks? Is it in Massachusetts? Is it New Hampshire? Where are they playing?
Yeah, in Massachusetts in Weymouth at a stadium called Union Point.
Okay. And
that is where the stadium is located. Yep.
And this is kind of an aside, but it's kind of cool. So Bill Baker, and he has wanted to do this, do some podcasting or do like a Facebook interview kind of thing. And he's doing his first one this weekend with an international rugby player.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so it's very cool.
I'll have to tune in.
Yeah, he's calling me up and asking me all these questions, and now he's going to do it. So he's working on the open and the music and all that stuff. So podcasting is just amazing because it's just so many people doing it about all these different categories, and it's so much fun, and you meet so many people. So going on there from there, what is the next step with the Free Jacks? Like, what are you doing next? Are they playing? Because I know that soccer's playing in Europe. Are they going to play soon? What's happening?
Yeah, so this is typically our off season as it is right now. It would end, if you think about the professional rugby season, how it goes in the US, you start the weekend after Super Bowl Sunday, and it runs through Father's Day weekend. So that's the season.
Okay.
Blisteringly cold in Boston for the first several weeks of that. So we are on the road. Not many teams are willing to come to Boston to play the first 5 weeks. So we're on the road typically. So this is our off season. So a lot of recruiting has been going on. We've launched the Free Jacks Academy, which was online at the onset of COVID and is now transitioned onto the field. So we do have limited group trainings for performance on the field in Massachusetts at the moment.
Okay.
And then what we are doing right now is we are announcing new player signings as also returning players that are coming in. We announced a head coach as well. So a lot of the heavy lifting that has been happening during the summer months for recruiting is being delivered now. So a lot of those signings, the podcasts are running weekly as well. And then we have a few surprises coming up as well that I can't really share just yet.
Okay. So who's the star? Who's the star of the team? We have Martinez for Atlanta United and obviously Freddie Freeman for the Braves. Who's the star on the Free Jacks?
I think the culture of rugby is not individualized at all.
Okay,
so I think you don't have the names on the back of the jersey sort of thing.
Right.
I think it would be incredibly helpful to have that for a new sport. But just the culture of rugby is not individualized. It's heavily a team sport. It's hard to have a standout without the support from your team. So, and you typically don't see that in the culture of the way that's spoken, the way it's delivered either. But we do have an incredible team. We have some great new players coming in, great new additions. We have a player just announced last week from South Africa, which I'm thrilled to have a South African on the team as well.
Cool.
We just announced a Scotsman earlier this week and another returning Irish American as well. So we have an incredible lineup across the board. The team works hard, plays hard, and the fans do as well. So I think it's really incredible to see such a strong team. And I think it'll be great to see. And also the season, right? We had 5 matches before it was absolutely just like shut down.
Yeah, shut down.
So it's hard to really get your momentum in doing so and see some of the great top scorers on the team.
Right. And Bill's my friend from Turner. We used to work together at Turner, and I see his Facebook, and I see that the MLR, Major League Rugby, just signed a deal with television. Like, rugby was not a big deal in the United States till very recently, and now they have a television deal. I don't know if it's Fox or who has it, and it's bigger. But is it bigger in Europe? Is it bigger in South Africa, where you grew up, or other countries? Okay.
Oh my gosh. So rugby is a religion in South Africa.
Okay.
And as well as the rest of the Southern Hemisphere. So New Zealand, I mean, they have the winningest record of all teams.
New Zealand, okay.
It pains me to say that, but yes, they do. And then also Australia, huge, right? Fiji, and then Europe is an incredibly strong rugby nation with just everything that they do. So and also even South America has had a lot. So rugby is emerging as one of the fastest growing sports in the US right now. And I think the emergence of the MLR, the consistency of the performances of each of the teams is really impressive. Some of the partnership deals and also having the visibility on different networks is really influential and driving the game as well.
And women play also, correct? I've seen some women's matches, and you just said that your co-host played on the USA team. Like, is there a Free Jacks sister team or partner team?
So the club teams in Boston, we support the club teams in the Boston area.
Okay.
There's a Boston Women's Rugby Club, and so we do support those both 15s and 7s. So there's 2 different styles of play. There's 15 on the side and 7 on the side.
Okay.
So you'll see the difference of those. 7s is faster paced. I mean, it's just non-stop running. And 15s obviously is a lot different to the 7 side.
And this is kind of a weird question, but is it a violent game? I mean, I know I've heard people getting their teeth knocked out. Like, is it a very aggressive game like this MMA, like I see him just getting into a pile, and I know that Bill's gotten a black eye, and when he played and told stories about breaking his ankle or something. I mean, you can get hurt, correct?
You can get hurt. Now, I speak from watching this, not from playing.
Yeah.
I played tennis in college.
Right.
I'm the most non-contact sports player out there. But yes, it is especially dangerous. Not dangerous, but it is full contact.
Mm-hmm.
It is aggressive. They don't wear pads.
Right.
They don't wear helmets because of the technical way that they do that tackles are performed as well. So very intricate, very specific way tackles are executed. And
do they wear mouth guards? Do they wear the?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll wear mouth guards. Yeah, I think it's preference as well. And then the guys that are in, if I can say this as the most non-technical way, it's a scrum when they lock arms and they go in and start off the play.
Yeah.
That's called a scrum. Those folks typically wear like a little tight knit sort of thing.
Yeah, I've seen that.
They call them like cauliflowers on the ears.
Yeah.
Like, just get the cartilage in your ears.
Yeah.
Really stands out. So they typically wear those, or typically the like the headband tape as well.
Right. And there's no
Yeah.
kicker, and there's no guy or gal who's just off to the side and doesn't really do anything. Everybody's in there and they're all like
No.
jumping on each other and
Yeah,
grabbing
yeah,
the
yeah.
ball. Yeah.
Exactly.
You
So
got to be tough to play rugby. You can't
you're gonna be really tough to
really
play
tough.
rugby.
Yeah.
So they did an analysis. There's a lot of these that go up there online about who's tougher, NFL versus, rugby players, professional rugby players, who plays more, who sprints more. Listen, this is no question about it. We know NFL are not running all
Right.
game long.
Yeah.
And I have huge respect for NFL players and also pro sport athletes as well. But on average, an NFL athlete will play 11 minutes in a game.
Wow.
Okay. A rugby player, they're on that pitch for 80 minutes. So there's no offense and there's no defense and switching out. They'll
Right.
have replacements, but they're on there for 69 more minutes than an NFL player.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah. So it's intense. It's an intense game. I have huge respect for them. The training is incredible. I'm really excited to see it pick up in the US as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, Bill loves it, and you seem to love it. People love rugby, so I think there's an audience out there for it.
Bill's a great fan. We're going to send him a full kit.
Yeah, you got to send him a kit. I don't know what's in the kit,
It's
but send him a
awesome.
kit. So I have a question for you before we go on to advice, and then I just want to see at the end if you want to talk about anything else, because I know you're doing other marketing stuff, brand building stuff, and you're at all these sporting events and conventions and stuff. Well, not anymore, but used to be. But what is your favorite? What is your favorite pod? Oh no, it's not. What is your favorite podcast? It's what is your favorite rugby player? Because we switched it because of the Free Jacks. Do you have a favorite? Is there like a Pele for you or?
Yeah, I grew up a huge football as in soccer fan.
Right.
So had a lot of inspiration there. But, I must go back to South Africa's history with rugby. It is deep within my core of why I had such a love for the game. So in 1995, the Springboks, so that's the name of the South African team, national team, beat the All Blacks, the New Zealand team, in the Rugby World Cup. And it was such a unifying moment for the country that the captain, Francois Pienaar, who was portrayed by Matt Damon in the movie called Invictus.
Yep.
It's a great movie. I love it. And so that's someone that it's a rugby player that's probably one of my favorites. And then also, most recently, Siya Kolisi. He is the captain of the South African rugby team. They won the World Cup last year, and it just was such a unifying moment again for the country that was so divided, that is rooted in so much tradition, but also they needed it more than anything else. And that was a moment that was defining, where it brought whatever race you were, whatever gender you were, it brought them together as a nation. And he knew this, and it was something that he carried on his shoulders. He didn't come from a well-to-do background. His story is quite remarkable. So that is something that gives me goosebumps every time I watch the end or an interview or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that with Argentina and Germany and different countries. When they win the World Cup, the whole country's together, and it doesn't matter. They're not divided on politics or anything else. They're just one unified country, even if it's for a couple of days.
We'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it. Okay, so let's just talk quickly about podcasts. Do you have a favorite podcast? Do you have something that you listen to or people that you liked besides your own?
Of course, absolutely. And that's the only way you can learn from others, right? How I built this is a remarkable podcast that has been around for years and years and years, and have so much respect, not only for the hosts, but the entrepreneurs as well. Really remarkable there. I love what Men in Blazers did during the World Cups, what they've done, listening to a lot of those sports type podcasts. And then on, Joe Rogan, he's just like the pioneer in sort of podcast pushing the needle there. And then Business Casual is a great podcast from the folks at Morning Brew. They've really, really nailed it when it comes to promotion and building a community and audience. Very
Wow.
impressive.
That's
Yeah.
really crazy. I just applied to be a host at Morning Brew like 2 days ago
Oh,
and sent them
amazing.
like a video thing.
Those guys are so great.
Yeah, I actually haven't listened to any of their stuff, so I'll have to go back and listen to it. But I love podcasting, and I've been with Bill and others, a video editor for over 20 years, and now I'll still do some video editing, but I just love this podcasting thing. And I think it's kind of like you with your love for rugby, that you're working for
Hmm.
this company that is a rugby entity, and you,
Yeah.
I mean, you do you love it because you're working on something that you love, and it's not just like, I don't know, Chinese restaurant or something that you don't like Chinese food, and you're like, every day
You
I gotta go see
know,
the wings.
absolutely. I've always felt, listen, if I feel like I can work 24/7 for this, or through, if I can pull an all-nighter for someone and be ready to go and willing to do that, then you know. If you're not willing to do that, then it's not a good fit.
Yeah, you gotta
But
find something you're passionate about.
it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. The team is fantastic, from the players to the back office to the executive team and the investors. Just really incredible.
And are they pretty new? Because I haven't heard of them. Are they like 5 years old or something, or have they been around for a while, the Free Jacks?
The Free Jacks, this was the inaugural season, the 2020
Oh, okay. So
season.
it's brand new. Okay.
Brand new. Yeah.
Wow.
New
Very cool.
kids on the block, but we're coming around for 2021 and picking up where we left off. So it'll be exciting.
Okay. And do you have any other, at the end here, we can tell everybody where they can find the website and the podcast, but do you have any other projects you're working on as far as
Yep.
something else that you want to talk about? Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Co-founder of 31 South and Summit House. So it is a collective of four very unique agencies. We are top-down creative, from performance marketing through branding, video, and to experiential as well, to work with some really interesting clients there. I'm working on some of their work, everything from Airbus and Facebook to top B2B software clients as well. So have a really great affinity for working with some of those brands.
Wow. How do you do it all?
Uh,
I kind of stumped
um,
you there.
uh,
How do you do all that
Listen,
stuff?
it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. But
Yeah.
when you are fueled by it, I think it's definitely. I hate to be cliche and say find something you love and you'll never work a day in
Yeah.
your life, but it's definitely a lot. I think burnout can be very real, but it's really finding that passion for what you enjoy and the people you enjoy. It couldn't speak more about being surrounded by the right people.
Yeah, we used to always say working in television, that it was like robbing a bank because you would have went in for free. You're actually getting paid to do it. You're like, I
Right?
would show up anyway, even if you didn't give me a paycheck, because this is fun.
Seriously. I
Um,
mean, put me on the sidelines of the Free Jacks and I'll stay there all day.
right. That's your payment, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so uh, do you want to tell everybody where they can find the website and the podcast and all that? Go ahead.
Absolutely. The easiest way to do that is to go to freejack.com/podcast. It's freejack.com/podcast. And there you will find access to each of these podcasts that you can access. You can also listen natively on that site as well. And
Okay.
then on social, I am at Tami McQueen.
Very cool. And just to wrap it up, do you want to, or can you, talk about advice for younger people who want to get into marketing and what you're doing, brand building? Can you explain brand building a little bit too?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think firstly, I'll talk about the podcast.
Okay.
And right now, I'm seeing so much of people saying on social media, like they might launch a podcast or they might say, see someone else that's launched something and they say, oh, another podcast. Who needs another one? There's 50 million of them out there.
Right.
Who cares? It does not matter. I
Right.
don't care if, no one else is listening. For me, it has been a lesson in how to build a community, how
Yep.
to understand a skill set that I don't have. I have never produced a a podcast, nor have I launched one. So
Right.
for me, it was not only creating that content, understanding that the community and that audience I wanted to reach, and then it is taking that piece of content and delivering it either into audio, video, on social media, the distribution, learning distribution techniques. So listen, don't let anyone tell you that there are 50 million podcasts out there, no one's going to listen. Who cares if no one listens? Learn something, take it and build it from there, and really hone your skills. It's going to be far more important to know how to build a community and distribute content the right way than having 50,000 listeners. Listen, 50,000 listeners would be great,
Yeah.
but
Right.
try it. Like, and if 3 people listen, it's 3 more people that will hear what you've got to say than none. So I think that's really important. And then on the side of branding, I think what's really important is understanding who you are and what value you can bring to your customers, or your users or your fans. They are number one in everything that you do. And as marketers, we often, and I've been guilty of this, of thinking we want to produce what's interesting to us and what sounds good or looks good from a marketing perspective. But if you are not delivering value to your fans, to your customers, to your users, it's worthless. They are
Right.
number one. So I think that's really important to take into consideration, keep that forefront of what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think everybody gets caught up in being successful right away. I saw an article on LinkedIn about a woman who was an entrepreneur, and her first company failed, and her second company failed, and her third company failed, and then the fourth company was a multi-million dollar company because she kind of learned all that stuff and figured it out by the fourth company. So yeah, just go out and do it. Definitely. Well, Tami,
Just do it.
just do it. This has been great. It's been great talking to you. Hopefully all of us can see Bill Baker's interview at some point. But everybody go watch the, I got to put it up, Blood, Sweat, and Beers. I'm mixing it up with the other guys who are like the Birds, Bears, and Brews. Blood, Sweat, and Beers,
Sweat, and tears.
and the Full Contact CEO, and everybody watch the Free Jacks. And yeah, thank you so much for doing this. This has been great.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean. Really appreciate it. And for everyone that tuned in, really, really appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thanks, Tami. You have a great day.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
You too.
Take care. Bye-bye.